Hi, it's Fleur DeForce here. I'm here with Glamour UK and today I'm talking about my new book and all things beauty and blogging. So I started back in 2009, which is really early days for YouTube, and at the time I really didn't have a clue what it was going to be like at all. Nothing really existed in the same way that it does now on YouTube. It was all kind of for a bit of fun really, and I just started talking about products that I love and how I apply my makeup and things like that, just things that I was passionate about. And so it really hasn't changed that much in terms of the content, like the type of content, where it comes from, because I still talk about what I love. But I think the production has improved a little bit over time as I've learned a bit more about cameras and editing and stuff. And yeah, I think the content's got a bit broader as well. So I do some interior stuff now, a bit more fashion than I used to, because I used to do all beauty, and quite a lot of lifestyle-y stuff as well. How to edit? There's a lot of things I had to teach myself early days, but I think it's all been really fun kind of learning it, and also because everything was so different when I started, it's almost been a really nice experience being part of that development into an industry, because it started off with people just sitting in their bedrooms talking to a camera, and now it's turned into a whole kind of separate arm of traditional media. So it's been really nice being part of that, so I feel like I wouldn't change too much. Definitely the freedom to be able to make your own kind of timings and being able to work in your pajamas is also amazing when you're at home. The worst thing is definitely not knowing when to stop, never being able to switch off. So I'm like always on my email, always on Instagram, always on Twitter, which I feel like everybody is nowadays, but I don't have that like clock off time, like yes, I'm leaving the office, that like Friday feeling, sorry, when I go home. I'm like, I don't get that, which is pretty sad. I never have a typical day. I could do a typical week more likely, because it usually involves a lot of either travel or moving around. I'm not based in London, so I usually have to come down to London for a couple of days a week, usually about 3 days a week for meetings or shoots. It depends on what projects I'm working on at the time. So I've obviously just finished writing my book, which took up a lot of my time towards the beginning of the year, but now obviously I'm not doing that. So it really depends what I'm doing that week, and that's what I love about it, because it's so spontaneous, and a lot of the projects come up fairly last minute as well. So it's kind of like, you know, can you go to America next week? Can you go to Costa Rica the week after? Things like that. It's very much a little bit spontaneous and fun, but sometimes a bit unnerving. Like, I like to be organised, but it kind of doesn't always happen how my schedule is all planned out. When I was little, I think I wanted to be a lawyer because I quite liked arguing, and I thought that would be great to be able to argue with people for a living. Don't think I quite understood probably what a lawyer was at that point. And then I spent quite a lot of my kind of late teens and early 20s before I started YouTube working in events. So I think that's probably what I would have ended up doing more realistically. Yeah, so the new book is what I like to call the slightly more grown-up, older sister of my first book. So it's still got a lot of the beauty and fashion content that people will expect from me in there, but it's got a bit more of a kind of entertaining, at-home, interiors kind of vibe to it as well. There's a lot more content I think that people won't necessarily expect, which I'm really excited to see how that goes down. It's been a little bit more hard work than the first one, because I think with the first book I kind of knew exactly what I wanted to write, and I had all of my ideas so quickly, and it all kind of came together so easily from my content that I already make online, whereas this one's a little bit different. So I feel like I'm a bit more proud of it, because it's been harder work to actually put it together and write it, but yeah, I'm really excited for people to see it. Yeah, I do get stopped by subscribers all the time actually, and I sometimes get more excited than they do, because I think a lot of the time people forget when you're doing YouTube, you're actually on your own in your room a lot of the time, and especially when you're actually filming content and making content. So it's actually really nice to meet the people that watch and comment, and you know, you kind of build up that relationship online, but a lot of the time don't get to meet them in real life. So yeah, that's one of the best bits I think of my job. Definitely a misconception in terms of fame, because I don't think it is like traditional fame at all. It's a lot more niche and a lot more personal. The connection you make with your subscribers is a lot more personal. It is harder work than it looks, but at the same time it is also really great fun as well. I absolutely love my job, and I would never sit here and be like, I work so hard or that kind of stuff, because I love it. I love every single day. But I would say, if you are wanting to get into YouTube or start your own blog, is be realistic, be persistent, because it takes ages to build a following. Be consistent and keep posting regular content so that people know when to come back, and be yourself, especially in video format, because people can tell if you're kind of putting on a persona or being somebody that you're not. That's, you know, an instant kind of giveaway, and I think people don't connect with you in the same way, because that's why people watch you, is for your personality. I wouldn't say it doesn't ever worry me, but it's not so much of an issue to me because I don't live in the centre of town. So there's not so many people kind of around where I live. I live in the countryside, so. The 5-year question is always one of the hardest questions to ask, because when I first started this, I had no idea it would be here now, or where it is now. But I think for me, you know, there's so much going on, and there has been a lot going on over the past 18 months in particular, that I've been focusing on that a lot. Looking forward, I mean, I'd love to expand a few things that I'm doing already. I'm actually expanding my eyelash range with Isla this summer, and there might be a further extension of something coming along those lines soon, which I'm really excited about. And obviously my second book's coming out, so that's the focus for the moment. I feel like one day I would love to have my own fashion range. That's definitely something I would absolutely love to do. I'm also in the process at the moment of kind of revamping the look of all of my sites and things, so I think I'm going to try and make things look a little bit more premium as I've grown up on YouTube as well. So I feel like I've been doing it for 7 years now. I've kind of literally grown up myself on YouTube, so I think my content has gradually been growing up, so it's kind of just updating everything for that as well. So we'll see. Who knows where YouTube's going to be in another 5 years. I've done a few things on TV, and I like it, and I would never rule it out. It's never been like the aim of the game, it's never been my end goal, but if the right project came up, I would definitely be interested in doing TV stuff, yeah. You know what, I actually don't obsess about Instagram nearly as much as everybody else, and I feel like I need to, because every time I talk to other bloggers, they're like, oh, my layout all looks, you know, my grid looks perfect, and I've got a colour scheme and this and that. I tend to look at Instagram more from the like traditional way of looking at Instagram, and the fact that you take a picture and you post it straight away, whereas a lot of people plan so far in advance, and I do that to a certain extent, but I'm definitely not obsessed with it. I'm more into kind of like posting when it happens and keeping that like live element there, because I think if you let content sit for too long, sometimes it goes a little bit stale. Maybe that's in my mind, but I feel like it's kind of past, you know what I mean? I think he would actually go one up on the Instagram husband and say he's a YouTube husband. So when that video came out, he watched it, laughed, and was like, they should try and be a YouTube husband and see my life. So yes, he definitely is. He's learnt so much about cameras and how to film and how I like being filmed and things like that. And he's actually quite good at it now. He was terrible in the beginning. He used to like cut my head off or cut my feet off every single time. But he's actually pretty good now. So, and I think he enjoys it more than some people, maybe. I don't really. Watching Game of Thrones, maybe. But then I've usually got my phone on at the same time. I know, that's terrible. I'm like triple screening most of the time. That, and I guess Sundays chilling out with my family when I get the chance to do that. I mean, obviously bringing out this book, but bringing out the first book was pretty amazing as well. It's never kind of something I thought that I would do. So it was really amazing to actually go through that whole process and take on something as big as writing a book, which was quite daunting at the start. So I think for me, like the first book launch was probably like that moment where I was like, I can't actually believe this is happening and it's mine. Like when I held the hard copy for the first time, it's a pretty special moment.